It is May 9th, 2022 at 6 p.m. We're at the council chambers of City Hall. Media has been notified. This is for the common council meeting. Call to order. Clerk? Better?
All right, got it. Thomas Kelly. Here. Stephen Jopek.
Here.
Eileen Daniel.
Here.
Carrie Michalowski.
Here.
Gerald Anderson. Thomas Barnett.
Here.
David Holt.
Here.
Leanne Felton.
Here.
Chris Hannes.
Here. Do we have quorum?
Yes.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, public comment. We have Dawn go first. Yep. If you just like to go to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Dawn Hollaback, 5070 Old 8 Road, Rhinelander. I'm here in regards to the annexation of Triggs. I'm totally against this. The area that I live in, I've been in there for 24 years. It's a very quiet, peaceful area. It's nice neighbors. It's just not something where we want a big semis coming and going, the warehouse, the lights, the noise, the dirt. It's just something that we don't need in that area. And like I said, I'm totally against it, as many of our other neighbors are.
Thank you. Bob? Sure. Craig? Sure. Well, so this is the only public comment section, just to let you know. So if you wave past the comment section, there won't be a point to speak. Okay.
Red is on, I take it.
Correct.
Craig Hansen, 5066 Old 8 Road. First of all, I'd like to introduce into, I don't know if you'd call it evidence, but into the conversation, 3 letters. One from Pat Hunter, 5049 Grossman, and one from Charlie Krieger, 5071 Grossman, and one from Steve Shepard, 5041 Grossman. Steve's letter was written 4/3 of 2022. It's already been listened to for the Planning Council, but if somebody would like to, maybe when I'm done, read these into the minutes. So this is a little bit, how many minutes do I have here, by the way?
3 minutes.
3? Starting now?
Correct.
So Steve's big concern is, I'll also pass out some of these packets. I have 5 of them prepared. I'm going to hang on to one just so I can refer to it. Steve's big concern is a runoff from the Triggs lot. He's addressed it in his letter. It's been going on for multiple years. My concern, along with some of my neighbors' concerns, are the additional noise that's going to, come with this building and transfer station. The additional traffic. Steve's big concern is the runoff of paved surfaces into the river. If they pave this, they're going to have to do something with watershed. In that packet is also included elevations which show that everything from Old 8 Road basically grades or pitches to the river. So something's gonna have to be done with runoff. Another one of my concerns is what exactly are they planning on building over here? People are annexing land, and we're here meeting with you people. And we have no idea of what's going to be built, how many trucks are coming in and out. It'd be kind of nice to know what's going on with that. One of the reasons that was listed for buying this strip of property that was annexed, I don't have the strip of land, but it's PE 76-10 or something like that, was possibly to be used as a buffer zone. I guess my concern is, if we're going to use this as a buffer zone, why did we purchase it? Why not just leave it in the natural state that it's in? We've actually started to develop a kind of a little bit of a bird habitat over there, but that'll probably be gone. The comment made by Solberg's attorney was, this used to be zoned industrial before the fire. Well, that's fine. Things change. So why does it have to be zoned industrial again? Why can't we revert back to something else? It's a nice little confluence of two little streams there. We have the Slaughterhouse Creek and the Pelican River. It's maybe it's a nice little wetland. Maybe it'd be a nice little spot for a park. I guess I think there's better locations for this property or for this facility. Doesn't have to be in the middle of a neighborhood. And my 3 minutes are probably about up, so thank you.
Thank you. Danielle?
Tara, Gerald's trying to get into the waiting room.
Oh, can you push the button to turn red? That way the mic's on.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
Danielle Larson, 5046 Old 8 Road. I'm also speaking about the T.A. Solberg land, and I'm here asking for compromise. If this facility truly cannot be built in another area, then I'm asking for compromise. I'm asking for time restrictions to be set and to be respected. Our quality of sleep and the safety of my children are my main concerns. I'm hoping that T.A. Solberg can come to a compromise with us so that his business can succeed and even thrive, while the business still respects the quality of life of the neighborhoods that surround this facility on 3 sides. So when the moment comes to decide on logistics, I hope that the city and T.A. Solberg take that opportunity to show compassion and understanding and respect to the neighborhoods that this will undoubtedly impact. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a Dominique.
Excuse me, could you turn up the mic? I didn't hear a word the previous person said.
And then back.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Dominic Sinfield. I live in 5054 Old 8 Road. I was just wondering, any of you ever travel on Old 8 Road? And that road is traveled so much from high school kids. The military people do that all summer long. And the street, that road is really travel a lot, high school kids and everything else. So, you know, if this is a good idea or not, but that's really, it's going to be a bad idea for all the way around. So, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, are you?
Bob Jaskolski, Minocqua. I'm currently the president and CEO of T.A. Solberg. I'm here today to clarify some of the reasons behind the annexation, maybe address some of the concerns that our neighbors have going in. This property was purchased 41 years ago, which is in the correct zone. Prior to T.A. Solberg purchasing it, it is my understanding that it was used for storage and warehousing by other businesses. It's been in existence for a long period of time. We operated that facility. We had our central bake, the Triggs trucking, we had warehousing, a recycle center out of that facility since 1981. On May 12th in 2019, we were heavily impacted by a fire which destroyed our recycle, our warehouse, the trucks facility, and damaged the bakery so extensively it was inoperable. Since then, we've moved our bakery operation back to the stores, cleaned up the site, and converted the bakery to a warehousing and storage facility today. It's currently being used that way until approximately late March of this year, at which time we began the process of cleaning up the site and getting ready for a new facility. Last year, we purchased the property that we are requesting annexation for the intention of improving the site, rerouting the entrance, improving security, and creating better aesthetics around that site. A lot of the concerns around truck traffic late at night was really attributed to the bakery operation, which we tried to get bakery to the stores in the morning. So we did have trucks, and that entrance was there. That's why we would like to annex this property so we can move that entrance going in. We also want to be respectful to the residents of this area and try to create as much of the sound barriers as we possibly can, as well as limiting operation hours. I apologize to the residents that I was unable to attend the previous meetings, but I've read all the comments, and frankly, some of it was pretty disheartening. So I want to address that today. I'm here representing over 500 employees that work for T.A. Solberg. There are many reasons why we are proud of who we work for. Our organization is built around sound ethics, generosity, high standards. The Trig is installed in this company. We take a lot of pride being part of a company that's been serving the Northwoods for over 50 years. On a personal side, I've joined this company close to 6 years. I chose to work for Trig Solberg because of what his company stood for and what he does to support his staff, his stores, the community, and the guests that shop us. This truly is a great organization and a great man. Most of his generosity goes unseen. I feel the personal attacks were uncalled for in a public forum. Today, the annexation will give us some flexibility to address some of the concerns of the residents to a site that's probably more than 50 years old. Those buildings are old. If the annexation is denied, we will work within the existing footprint to do the best we can to accommodate many of the goals that we have set, especially around being a good neighbor. This is not a new endeavor, but an improvement to the existing business that we've been operating for over 40 years. And with all respect to the neighbors, we'd like to improve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment from anyone in the gallery? Any public comment from anyone from council?
Tom Giroux, 604 Reich Street, Rhinelander, Wisconsin, your city forester. I wanted to thank Mayor Ennis for the gift to the Urban Tree Fund, and Zach Verwink also made a nice gift, and the Jopek family did. So there's still room for rest of you city councilors to participate. Our goal is to raise $10,000 and to open a fund with the Community Foundation to maintain our urban trees over the long term. Trees clean the air we breathe and clean the water we drink. They shade and cool our streets, saving home energy costs. Trees store carbon. They provide a lot of benefits. Recreation, health of the community is improved. So thank you very much for your generosity, and we look forward to having a vibrant tree program that includes the long-term maintenance of our urban forests. Not just planting trees, but maintaining them for the entire life of the tree. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any public comment from the council? So I did receive one from a resident outside of the city boundaries. First name is Cheryl. I have lived in my house at 5070 Old Highway 8, directly across from the Triggs Quonset hut since 1998. Before the fire that closed the bakery, it was very dusty and noisy due to semi-traffic. His property is in a quiet neighborhood of single-family homes. The dust, noise, and light that would result of the location and warehouse and trucking facility in a quiet neighborhood is unwelcomed. A zoning amendment allowing general industrial use here is also unwelcomed. Okay. Moving on to mayor comments. I have none at this time. Going to meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I input a motion to amend action item F to say 7I, 1 abstain, where it says I abstained from that conversation, but then it displays 8 votes rather than 7 ayes, 1 abstain.
Is there a second?
Barnett, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 7A, this is regarding the parcels that are owned by the city of Rhinelander by the golf course. I'm entertaining to waive the second reading as well as approve for annexation.
Could we get a little bit better description just for the sake of the public input there?
Sure, so these are the lots that were donated to the city of Rhinelander adjacent to the city golf course by Lee Swank. So these are properties that are owned by the city that we're trying to bring into the city to keep as a green space, a rec space for our community.
Daniel, make a motion to waive the second reading of ordinance 2022-04 annexation of CR-206, CR-207, CR-202, CR-213, CR-208, CR-209, CR-210, CR-211, CR-214, and CR-283, and approve the annexation of these properties.
Holt.
Anderson, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, annexation of that parcel's approved. Letter B, this is the annexation of the Triggs lots around, over in Pelican. Would entertain any decision from this board. So clarification, Steve, can we in theory annex this property but change zoning on this?
You have to annex the property. Once the property is part of the city, then zoning automatically comes in as an as an R1, and then you have to change zoning. I mean, it's a two-step process. You can do it all as one step, but it's better to do it as a two-step process. Accept the annexation, then do the rezoning. Now, for example, on the land you just brought into the city, technically that's gonna come in as an R1. You're sometime gonna wanna transfer that, I'm sure, to a recreational district, cause that's what it is. But you, the city, would have to petition for the rezoning, and I don't think that was done at the planning commission level. So that'll be proper later. For tonight, I think there's both a motion for annexation and a motion for rezoning. So those are two properly before the body. You can do them together or you can do them separately. Does that answer your question or make it worse?
No, it answers.
Okay.
So would we entertain to divide the question just for annexation first and then zoning second, possibly? Correct. In that first reading of, correct.
Can we open this up to discussion? Is that?
You have to have a motion for.
You gotta have a motion, yeah.
Joe Peck's gonna motion to open up for discussion.
No.
No? Move to,
The annexation. You can vote against annexation, but you gotta move the annexation.
You want me to do that? Holt, I move to approve the annexation of ordinance 2022-5, annexation of PE 78-10, PE 80-G, and PE 1250-3.
Barnett, I will second that motion for the sake of discussion. Gerald, can you mute? Okay, so I seconded it for discussion.
So there's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I guess, you know, I have concerns about this as well. I understand that the business is important. I definitely don't have my concerns of Triggs. I'm not, it's nothing like that. I do wonder the historical precedent here. It's been there for purchased 41 years ago after a fire. It was industrial before, since 1981. Those are all valid points. However, a historical precedent in this situation, is there a better spot for traffic to go? Old 8 is not really, I wouldn't say equipped to handle like that amount of traffic. I assume if it's a warehouse, it'll be a little bit more than a bakery. That I might be wrong there. I do wonder, is there an alternative area that can be, we can help Triggs out with, that spares that area for maybe residential development in the future? Again, I don't see the historical precedent as being the reason to just continue with the same old, if there's a potential to set them up in a better position that also helps out the residents. That's just my 2 cents.
So just for the council to keep in mind, so what's on the floor today is, should these lots be part of the city or not? And should they be zoned that zoning? So I mean, at this point, whatever action we take will not dictate the layout, who owns it, what they build there, as long as it falls in that industrial category. So.
But if we were to annex it and accept it in, it comes in as R1, and then vote to allow it to be industrial, then we're basically just giving it the green light, correct?
For the lots in question.
Yes, so the annexation of that lot, the lot that they own, and then they would be able to build whatever, assuming that we...
Long as it fits the parameters of the zoning.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want the council to understand. Right now, you're voting on annexation, whether or not this property is contiguous with the city of Rhinelander. In other words, does it meet the standards for annexation? Anybody that petitions the city to be annexed should be allowed to annex the city as long as all the criteria is met. And in this case, we examined and all the criteria is met. Just because someone else doesn't want them to annex is really not a legitimate reason. That's just like in the last one, the city of Rhinelander wanted to annex their own land into the city of Rhinelander. That's a pretty logical reason. So if a party wants to annex, as long as they're not bringing in somebody else's property, they really have a right to annex. The secondary question is, once it's annexed, what is the proper zoning? And now, if the zoning is properly industrial, and I'm not going to comment on, that's not what But understand that just because you rezone it doesn't mean they have, as I think the word was, a green light. They still have to go back to the plan commission with a site plan. They have to go through the conditions that may be traffic control, maybe light control, maybe sound control, maybe dust control, all of those things that the planning commission normally deals with. That's for another day and another time. The issue tonight the first issue tonight is whether or not they're a proper lot for annexation into the city. And I can tell you from a legal point of view, there's nothing stopping that. Now, you still can vote no, but you really better have a pretty good reason, or I'll have a job to do. Because, you know, again, generally where you see people fight annexation is when the city is forcing them to annex, and they really don't want to. But this is a case where somebody wants to annex. But that doesn't mean that they can automatically do whatever they want. That just means they're part of the city. So they can have city water, city sewer, which are pretty important for operations such as this. They could, frankly, carry out the operation they're talking about in the town of Pelican, if the town, or is it Pelican? I think it is. Because that would be up to the town of Pelican. They could have this warehouse, they could do all, except that it makes a lot more sense to be in the city of Rhinelander because it's one big lot then, that one big parcel. So, you know, that gives you a little better knowledge, I think. Is that what you're looking for, Chris?
Thank you. Mr. Holt?
Thank you. Mr. Sorensen said most of what I was going to say, but I would like to add that they already stated that their plan in terms of what they're going to do, it won't radically change whether they have this parcel annexed or not. I do think, and that was stated at the podium, but I would like to reiterate that it's important for us to understand what is agendized to be voted on. That's not zoning. That goes to the Planning Commission at a later date. This is simply for the annexation. And so I defer to our legal counsel on what our obligation as a council is for that.
Thank you. Mr. Barnett?
Can I just ask a general question that way?
Unfortunately, public comment is over.
Oh, okay. I would like to encourage the members that have voiced concerns over the annexation of this property and what would possibly be built on the property to attend these planning commission meetings and to voice those concerns there and really understand the process of what the planning commission does. I would like to know personally if there was any public comment or negative things at the last planning commission and what was done about those concerns.
Mikulowski?
So I am a member of the Planning Commission as well. So indeed, a lot of the same residents were at the planning meeting and did say a lot of the same things they said tonight. The problem is that we're not voting on a site plan. We're voting on an annexation. And so T.A. Solberg already owns the property that's being annexed. And it's already zoned as industrial. So the only difference tonight and during the planning meeting that we can vote on is to either bring it into the city or not. We're not voting on any site plans. We're not voting on any entrances or exits or noise or dust or any of that. We're simply voting on bringing the property into the city to make it one big lot versus one lot and 3 little tiny parcels of land that's Pelican. So it's technically cleaning up the boundaries of the city. Thank you.
So the lot itself is in Rhinelander. It's the buffer zone around it that is being annexed, correct?
So it's additional lots around
Okay.
the main property.
Yep, okay.
Mr. Anderson?
The motion is only on the annexation at this point. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I'm in favor of that. I just want to say that if it were on the rezoning as well, I certainly would appreciate if the Plan Commission would give us its reasons for recommending that kind of thing. As Mr. Sorensen stated, the reasons for annexation are pretty obvious.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Mr. Barnett?
Like I said, just what everyone else said here, that this is strictly annexation. So I would encourage anybody that has concerns to definitely attend the next Planning Commission meeting, or whatever Planning Commission meeting takes place to discuss the buffering and the noise pollution, light pollution, anything like that, because that's truly where those concerns get heard, and that's truly where those concerns can change things. So, and then if you don't feel your voice was heard at that Planning Commission, definitely come back to City Council before anything gets disrupted over there. So I definitely want to see a cleaning up of the city boundaries. So I don't think annexation is a bad thing, but I do encourage any residents that have concerns to attend these meetings and make their voices heard.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to call a roll vote on this since it seems a little divided. Clerk?
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Thomas Kelly.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Annexation passes. I believe this goes to a second reading, if I'm not mistaken, next month. Okay. Next meeting, I should say.
Well, yeah, because nobody made the motion. You did have unanimous, so you've carried it by more than the 2/3 that were required, but nobody made a motion to just have it like you did in the last one. So yes, it would go to the next meeting for this annexation vote, right?
Thank you. C, so this is annexation of a parcel that Marshfield Clinic wants to add on to the city. I would request that we waive the second reading on this. At the Planning Commission level, there were no comments regarding this lot. This is for an expansion of the clinic.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-06, annexation of PE-51.
Daniel, second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Those opposed? Ordinance passes.
No, I didn't. I forgot.
Would you entertain to waive the second
Did we
week
just
reading?
vote?
But I suppose you could.
We can do it at the next one.
No,
We
I'll
can-
help you. I'll help you do what you want to do. Somebody who just voted in favor, that can move to reconsider, and then you can vote on the reconsideration, then you can vote for what you really wanted to vote on. And that makes a clean record.
Daniel, I'll make a motion to reconsider the passage of ordinance 2022-06, annexation of PE 51.
Holt.
Anderson, second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Not hearing none. Passes. Number 8, board reports of board. This is the Planning Commission.
No. Now David has to make a motion.
I have to
while-
correct my
Yep.
previous mistake, sir.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Holt, I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-06, annexation of PE-51, and waive the second reading.
Daniel, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Now the ordinance passes. Okay, number 8, reports of boards. This is the Planning Commission meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Daniel, make a motion to accept the planning commission meeting from May 3rd, 2022.
Holt, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Number 9, unfinished business. This is regarding action taken or to take action on double time policy for non-union employees. I refer to Zach.
Are we okay to keep moving? Okay, keep moving. So as a refresher on this particular item, since it's been referred to the body, as was presented in the previous iterations of the employee manual, at least in our document search, there hadn't been an existing policy on record that was approved by the council. So since the discussions that have occurred on this at the council level and in consultation with from feedback from some of you that have weighed in on the topic, I submitted a proposed iteration of the text last week for your consideration. Additionally, I would offer that for those that are currently
that all employees who are called into work that are non-union would receive double time on Sundays, and wastewater, since they are scheduled to work, would receive for the remainder of the year a bonus of $350.
That's correct.
Okay. At this point, I will open it for discussion only. I would not entertain a motion at this point to allow all aldermen to have their voices heard. Ms. Daniel?
Yeah, I was just wondering if this has been presented to the department heads that it affects and what their feedback was.
The policy was sent, they were included as it was sent to all of you last week, as well as discussed in some form with them, though they have not provided any specific feedback to me as to the draft.
Mr. Holt?
Yeah, I'd like a point of clarification here. You stated that you would not entertain a motion. As agendized, it says discuss/approve.
Just at this point, for everyone can have time to talk.
Technically, you shouldn't discuss unless there is a motion, but he's the chair.
Is there a reason why we couldn't move forward on a motion right now? Is there a logistical reason why we're not ready?
I just want every alderman to be able to speak clearly before a motion gets put on the table.
Okay. So you're not saying we can't make a motion tonight, just after we give everybody time
You are
to speak?
100% correct. I would actually encourage some action by this body tonight. Okay. Mr. Anderson?
I used to live in a city where it was a standing joke among the population, and not always considered a funny joke, that if a water line broke on Saturday, someone would come out at time and a half to turn off the water, and then the real repair would always be done on Sunday at double time. And I think the problem is what perception we create among the population. In that case, it wasn't really very good. Especially when we go to argue that many of our employees, and I believe this is true, are underpaid compared to comparable positions outside the city. The rejoinder from some people in the city is bound to be, how should they be? They get double time on Sundays. I just think there's a perception problem we need to be concerned about. And how we manage this policy is probably as important as whether we have the policy. As I read what was proposed in Zach's email, it took me a while to figure it out, but I guess correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to be saying there isn't automatic double time on Sunday, but under certain circumstances, which are spelled out there, it amounts to double time. And I guess that's okay with me as long as it's judiciously managed.
So Zach, just to clarify, the trigger for double time would be if you're called in to work.
That's right, and if you've already put in your 40 hours of your scheduled normal work period that week.
Mr. Barnett?
First, I'd like to just ask Alderperson Anderson to be careful with statements that we don't have documentation on, as far as pay scales that conflict ours or do or don't, without proper paperwork to verify that. That's just an opinion. Whether it's true or not, I don't know because I haven't seen paperwork on it. So, but I will say that the double time needs to come back. Our employees are worth it, and they deserve our support. So I will be supporting a motion that will be made tonight to bring this back.
Ms. Michalowski?
I just have a question of what the work weeks are. Like, what are the days of the work week? Does it end on a Sunday, or is Sunday the start of a new pay period?
Yes, it depends on which rotation the employee falls. So they work a 5-day, 5-day normal Monday through Friday schedule, and then they're scheduled Saturday and Sunday, and then they get 8 hours of comp time for standby that they then apply generally to the next Friday and the practice is to apply it to the next Friday in the work week. So it may or may not fall in that same.
A work week would either have to be Monday through Sunday or Sunday through Saturday.
Monday through Sunday.
Monday through Sunday.
I believe is the way, for the purposes of the operator on call situation, would fall. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So to clarify for that, my understanding is wastewater would not qualify then for over 40 based on the timetable.
They would receive time and a half for anything above 40 hours worked. Yep.
Mr. Holt?
Yeah. One of the main reasons I support this, bringing this back, is because there's something to be said for the way in which a policy is handled and changed. The council, the city government did not enforce a policy change it made years ago, and then very quickly decided to. And having heard other council members, I think had ample time to speak, I would like to make a motion to reinstate double time on Sundays as it was administered prior to that, and direct the city administrator the license to compensate retroactively as he suggested in his opening statements.
Michalowski, second.
There being a motion second, any more discussion? Mr. Anderson?
Excuse me. So this is ignoring Zach's proposal and just going to straight everybody who works, who's called in on Sunday gets a double time. It seems less clear than what Zach had put up.
Specifically as it was administered prior to this change.
Do we know that?
Zach, do you know how you were administering?
No, I would say that the motion you made is unclear to me as to.
You.
Yeah, we need to actually have action on what the policy is if we're going to institute a, we don't have a policy today for this. So to reinstate a policy where we didn't have a policy would be, I guess, leave more gray area for all of us.
As there was no, well, there was a second. I would like to amend that then to clarify it.
Okay.
I apologize. I would like to amend my motion to be, to direct the city administrator to develop a policy on double time pay for Sunday. Is that clear?
So
That we could.
that won't actually get us a solution tonight. That's pushing
Right,
it to
I understand.
further.
I
you know.
understand. But he just stated that a policy needs to be written, correct?
Yeah, and I did share one with the council
Okay.
leading up to this meeting that
So-
at least was for discussion purposes. It was a draft. That's right.
Yeah, and,
Yep.
and that's what I thought I was making a motion to approve.
Oh, okay. I don't think I was clear.
I'm sorry that wasn't
If that's your
clear.
motion, then.
That was my motion.
Then clarifications were made.
So before we go any farther, he technically made a motion to amend. I would suggest at this point there would be no second, just to kill the amendment until Steve has said stuff. Okay, I do not hear a second on the amendment. Amendment doesn't gain ground. Steve?
Yeah, and again, I think that there's just a lot of, let's start with the first thing. There has to be a policy established, because the problem is there is no policy. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, Zach presented a policy tonight, and the policy that presented, we've talked about it all day long, so I'll make it as clear as I can, because I've heard it from both of the two gentlemen at the front table, is that from this point to the end of the year, the Sunday, the individuals that were working on Sunday that were expecting to get overtime or double time, that weren't getting double time, would be getting this compensation to cover that, this $350, I think was the number you mentioned.
Correct.
And that then it keeps the policy that currently is in existence where they get time and a half on Sunday, correct? Correct. But they're also going to get a salary stipend to make what they anticipated they were going to get, so nobody is not getting what they, nobody's getting punished because they thought it was one thing, it was another. And so that would take you through the end of the year, and anybody that's called in on Sunday would get, in other words, it wasn't their regular working hour, then they would get double time. That's the policy that I think you're recommending, correct?
Correct.
So what it does do is then establishes a policy that if you're called in, it's not your regular working time, you're going to get double time. If it's your regular working time, you're still going to get time and a half because it's Sunday, but you're also going to get a bonus to make up for what you were promised or you theoretically felt you were promised, so that you would be fully compensated. That's at least the way the mayor put it to me today, that they were trying to accomplish. So nobody would lose something in the process or lose something they thought they had. That would give you a policy to take you through the end of the year. Then I think as a council, you're going to have to develop a policy for your next fiscal year when you're figuring your budgets. Now, I hope that explains what we talked about today, Mr. Mayor.
Just to make sure, so we're at the point where we have a motion and a second, so ideally, we would want to amend to similar to what you have said. If,
Yes, that's what I'm really
Alderman does
hoping happens if that's what you agreed
entertain.
that was discussed today.
No pressure, Mr. Holt.
Yeah, I will amend my motion to incorporate what our city administrator or city attorney just summarized in terms of the proposed policy by our city administrator.
Anderson, second.
Okay,
All right, so we vote on the amendment.
true. So all in favor for the amendment?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Amendment passes. All in favor for the motion?
Do we
As
need-
amended, sorry.
Do we need a roll call?
True. True.
Yeah, we need to have a roll call on this.
On a second? Okay.
Yes.
So any more discussion on the whole? Nope. Clerk, call the roll.
I would, just one point of discussion, and that is that I would like to see the written policy made part of the record for public scrutiny. Thank you.
Clerk, call the roll.
David Holt,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Abstain.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton. Aye. Thomas Kelly.
Aye. Motion passes.
And the record will reflect that Stephen did not participate in any of the discussion, even though he was part of the room. Thank you.
Stephen Jopek, just to clarify. Number 10, introduction of new business. Number A is update the federal earmark for water and PFAS safeguard. I refer to Zach.
In your packets on page 12 and 13 is the exchange I had with the DNR on this topic. As you were aware, previously the city was included in a federal earmark of $1.6 million for water and PFAS safeguards. The short answer of their response is essentially it's too soon to tell what case or what capacity we can utilize the earmark, but I expect that they're going to have some guidance going forward on this fairly soon. So that, just want to bring that to your attention, as I think there's been some questions both from the public as well as maybe in your own minds as to what we can be doing or what we should be doing in this area for the federal earmark. Additionally, the effort of the previous RFQ, the request for qualifications that was solicited last year, I'd like to brief those folks that this is the information that we're operating off of first, but also that it's likely that the city would be issuing a request for proposals from those firms to ultimately meet the expectations of this earmark, and that likely would be some form of treatment system at the two currently suspended wells. So just wanted to bring that to your attention and answer any questions that you might have or discuss anything else on the topic.
Not seeing none, moving to B. So B is another one of those kind of fun things. So long story short, the bids came back way over budget. So our recommendation is to reject the current bid we received from Mussins regarding the rebuilding of Timber Drive. And then we would have a second recommendation that we put it back out to bid from Stevens Street to Coolidge.
Barnett, I'll make a motion to object the Timber Drive bid awards, or reject, I'm sorry. Reject the bid for Timber Drive and put the bids back out there to see what we can get.
Okay.
I just make a point. You always should make your motions positive and then vote against them, rather than using double negatives when you're rejecting. But I just want you in the future, so that you make a motion to approve it and you vote against it. That's just good parliamentary procedure.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm just.
Is there a second?
No, Daniel, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion to reject approved. Sorry, Steve. So now the second part would be entertaining that we go out for bids for Stevens Street to Coolidge for the same concept of work.
I believe that was in his motion. It was in his
Oh,
motion, so.
okay, so then,
We
my
captured
bad.
both.
Going to C. This is discussion / approve of resolution 2022-9. This is a stewardship application for rec trail. Defer to Zach.
Yeah, so part of that action you just took was to split the Timber Drive reconstruction into two parts, and the part east of Coolidge would then have a recreational trail on the north side. And given the way the pricing came in on mostly the pipe work associated with the project, we're asking that the DNR has actually invited us to reapply for the stewardship application we were unsuccessful on last year. So all told, our hope is that we'll get some grant money to support the trail installation, and then this fall bid that second portion of that project to occur next year.
Is there a motion to apply for this?
Barnett, I'll make a motion to apply for Resolution 20229, authorizing stewardship application for rec trail.
There's a motion, is there a second? So, we could discuss that after, but we're past the public comment, unfortunately. So, with the motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, okay. Any discussion? Oh, sorry. Any discussion on the topic? Ms. Daniel?
I'll ask who owns that property now.
I refer to Zach.
What property are we talking about?
The potential bike trail.
The potential bike trail.
So the trail would be, with exception if there's any additional sidewalk work, everything east of Coolidge is on right-of-way. So it's associated for the right-of-way of the roadway.
Okay, so we're just putting in a stewardship application for that particular trail.
Yeah, it'd be a
So
50-50
it's on a
cost
right-of-way right now, ma'am.
Mr. Anderson?
And this is for a bike trail on the north side, not the south side.
That's correct. Yeah, the scope and scale haven't changed since the last time we brought this through council, other than now we know how much the supply chain and other costs have impacted this project. The proposed trail is proposed entirely on city right-of-way, so it's on city right-of-way. It might be privately owned, but there's rights-of-way for the installation of the trail.
No, we didn't have a vote yet. So I believe there's a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Now we go to D. I refer to Zach.
10D is just an update, no action on this item tonight as we are outstanding, there's a detail outstanding on this. Essentially, all commercial electrical inspections are performed through the state right now, and with this change, we propose to work with a local inspector to Oneida County area to do this work. Essentially, it involves the city becoming a delegated agent for the state, so the permits would flow through the inspection office similarly to the way they flow through for commercial building, where the city is a delegated agent again for the state. So essentially, we would collect a fee. We would contract with someone privately who's credentialed to perform the commercial electrical inspection. And again, I'll seek action on this detail at the next meeting, but just bringing this information forward. Ultimately, it'll result in a little more, I would say, better customer service between the local developers and projects than what currently the attention that the inspector who oversees much of the north half of the state is able to provide out of the Wausau area for the state at this time. And there would be no net budgetary impact because our fees that we collect would outweigh the expenses on this.
Any discussion? Not seeing none. Moving on to E. This is regarding bills and claims. Would entertain a motion.
Barnett, go ahead, Mike.
Daniel, make a motion to pay the bills and claims in the amount of $3,302,494.69.
Barnett, second.
Any discussion? Not seeing none. Clerk, take the roll.
Leanne Felton, Aye. Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Motion passes. Going on to F. This is a discuss/approve ambulance billing service. Refer to Zach.
Earlier this year, the fire chief, finance director, and I met with our billing provider, LifeQuest. Overall, we remain very satisfied with their services. Though as part of the discussion, it came up that they would be willing to take a fee reduction since considerable time has passed since the original agreement was executed in 2010. In effect, further in exchange of the reduction that we would receive in the billing rate, there would actually be an increase in the delinquent accounts collection. So it's somewhat of a fee transfer, though the net benefit remains positive to the city in that we'll collect more of our routine collectible billing, bills, I guess, that they're billing on our behalf. So the addendums on page 19, you'll see under Article 6 the one modification regarding the fee rates, or fees listed there. And I think as we get closer to budget, it would make more sense for LifeQuest to give a presentation. We had a presentation presented that was quite informative around trends, but as we get through the budget year, it would make sense for him to come back and probably give a presentation at a budget workshop on this topic.
Barnett.
Can we ask the fire chief to come up and speak on this? What his thoughts are on it?
You could yield time, sure.
Thanks.
Good evening. So pretty much all that we get out of this is we went from 12.5% down to 8.5% for what LifeQuest bills us for all the fees that they collect. So our immediate cost savings to the city is a little over 10 grand by doing this. So it's a win-win for us and LifeQuest, really.
Okay. Sure, Mr. Jopek.
What's the increase on the delinquent accounts? It's at 24% through this Article 6. What was it at prior?
It was always at 24%. There's no increase.
So there's no adjustment there?
No, that was just that's for what they charge us for delinquent accounts for when they have to go after those accounts that are unpaid.
Okay, thanks.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve the ambulance billing service agreement with LifeQuest.
Is there a second?
Anderson, second.
If I could just clarify one thing.
Sure, Zach.
There was a question about the delinquent. Previously, we were paying 24% for the first 60 days and then 33%. Now we're not paying, we're paying that off the actual collectible, as the chief just indicated. And so this proposal just sinks it up to be 24% overall.
Would there be a motion and a second? Clerk, call the roll.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Kelly,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton, Aye. Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Motion passes. To G, so Police and Fire Commission, the current member decided not to ask for reappointment, so I'm making a recommendation that we appoint Pete Tenderholt to the Police and Fire Commission, if this body so decides.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve mayoral appointment of Pete Tenderholt to the Police and Fire Commission for a term expiring April 30th, 2027.
Barnett, second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to H, this is regarding the library district. The city of Rhinelander has 3 spots on that from city residents. We currently have an empty spot that needed appointment, so I'm making a recommendation to appoint Bill Freudenberg to the library board with a term expiring April 30th of 2026.
Barnett, I'll make a motion to approve mayoral appointment of Bill Freudenberg to the library board for a term expiring April 30th, 2026.
Anderson, second.
Any discussion? Not seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. I am removing due to we found some new information that we will bring this to a future board meeting. J is discuss and approve resolution for insurance and a bond. I refer to Zach.
Yeah, this is the first step for the debt aspect associated with the reconstruction of the United Street area. This, as you'll see, there's both bond debt financing as well as grant. It should say $2 million in grant. I forgot the word grant. We did the agenda. Sorry about that. So more information will be forthcoming on this as to the source of repayment of those bonds. We modeled it essentially based upon, because it's largely a utility project, that the sewer utility is is the funding source for the bonds. And then as we go forward, you'll start to see, once we get the actual cost of the project, you'll be able to discuss the net effect that'll have on utility ratepayers going forward. But this project is expected to be reconstructed next year with it being put to bid late this year and then an award sometime either in the first part of the calendar year next year or at the end of this year yet. Yeah, he did say to skip I.
Yeah, it was removed.
Yep.
So just to clarify, Zach, what are we looking for from this body tonight regarding this topic?
The approval of the resolution. It's not been numbered because it's a USDA resolution, but we'll number it as we bring it into our format.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve resolution authorizing the issuance of a $3,872,000 in bonds and $2,099,000 for the Oneida Street area reconstruction.
Daniel, second.
That'd be a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not seeing none. Clerk, call the roll.
Thomas Kelly.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel.
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton. Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 11 with monthly reports from the departments. Any discussion?
Daniel, make a motion to accept the reports from departments as presented in the packet.
Is there a
second?
Holt second. Any discussion? Not seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Closed session. If necessary, convey into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.851 sub E to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exceeds responsibility in deliberation or negotiation or purchasing of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business. Whenever competition or bargaining reasons require closed session. Bullet point A, discuss parameters of development agreement. Bullet point B, discuss litigation in which the city is or may become involved in. Bullet point C, return to open session to take possible action if necessary.
Holt, I'll make a motion to go into closed session for the above stated purpose.
Barnett, second.
Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton. Aye. Thomas Kelly.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Abstain.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Motion passes. From closed session, is there a motion for no action? I completely screwed that up. So we came back from closed session, there'll be no action taken. Future agenda items.
I'm sure if I think of something, I'll just call it in.
The what?
If I come up with something, I'll just email it in before the next meeting.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
We don't need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, okay, meeting's over.